Welcome to the latest episode of 305 Vox Populi here in the town of Miami Lakes. You're with Mayor Manny Sid, and we have a great guest today. We have Chef Frankie in the house.
What up, Manny? Thank you for having me, bro.
Good to see you, Frankie. I also wanted to thank Miami Lakes Auto Mall. We're powered by Miami Lakes Auto Mall. Fred Senra, we appreciate you. They're at 16600 Northwest 57th Avenue here in the town of Miami Lakes, 305-455-3540. The car business is booming. It is, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous what's happening.
I was looking for a car yesterday, and I'm trying to buy a utility, like a cargo van, and they're non-existent right now.
Miami Lakes Auto Mall.
Yeah, I gotta go to Miami Lakes Auto Mall, see if they got some over there.
We'll make the connect. I also wanted to thank our film production team, the Matter Lakes Academy Bears. As you can see, every single week, the improvement. I mean, these folks are amazing. These are high school seniors and high school juniors putting this together. This podcast is literally a live classroom. You learn in real time, which is truly, truly phenomenal. But with our guest today is my good friend Frankie, and I wanted to break the ice with something that I think Frankie's really well known is the egg yolk colada. So just walk us through it if you could make it, because I that's how I want to break the ice today. We'll get deeper into conversations.
Okay. So we're going right into it.
Right into it.
All
man.
right,
We're
all right.
jumping
That's
straight into it.
Okay, so I set everything up right here close, so I don't gotta get up. But so pretty much.
But why?
Why? Oh, okay, so we'll get into history real quick. So, a lot of people ask me if I invented it, right? And I like to say yeah, right? Because it's cool to say yeah. But in Vietnam, back in the days, there was a shortage on milk for a while, right? So they would whip the egg yolk into the sugar and then brew the coffee in there to give it that frothy milk, kind of flavor. And then in Italy, they do something called uovo sbattuto, which pretty much just means whipped eggs with sugar, or a sabagnone, right? My grandfather passed away. I'm half Italian. I'm Cuban Italian. My grandfather, when he passed away, he left his recipe book. And although it was super hard to understand, because he wasn't he was literate, but he was wishy-washy, I guess you could say. He's from the old school, he left the recipe for the uovo sbattuto.
Wow.
And then when my mom was reading it to me, I was like, wow, that sounds delicious. And I was like, I got to try that in some Cuban coffee, right? So one day we were filming for La Hama, which I guess we'll get into in a little bit. But me and my homie Sofla were filming some food shots. And then I was like, at that time, I used to just make it for my homies. And at that time, I was like, yo, you want to try some coffee or whatever? He's like, yeah. And then I didn't really notice, but he was filming everything, and he edited it and just put it out there, and it went. It depends what you consider viral, but for me, I don't know, 500,000 hits, 1 million hits is crazy amount for me,
Wait. 500,000, 1 million.
At least the first thing that happened was it went on Only in Dade, Only in Hialeah, all these big blogs, Lifestyle Miami, all these crazy big blogs right away. You know what I mean? And it just traveled and traveled and traveled. They actually did an article on me in the New Times. It's I used to do music and I used to do all these things. I've always kind of been in and out of the limelight. You know what I mean? And I think one of the things that blew me up the most was the egg yolk colada. And people, when I walk around Miami, they stop me and ask me about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's it became a real thing. And so I had to end up selling it. So when I just shut down the Cafe 72, but when I was at the cafe, it was yo, I have a line of 10 or 12 people. The most expensive colada in Miami, by far, I'm sure. I was selling for $5 or $6 for, a little cup. But people just can't get enough of it. I think at first.
And what's cool is that they want to see you make it.
I mean, that's cool for them. It's horrible for me because I'm only one guy. My arm is only so strong. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they really want me to make it. You know what I mean? At the cafe, I taught everybody how to make it, and I funked the system a little bit just because I'm only one guy, man. I can't work 24 hours a day, and people want Cuban coffee 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter in the morning, in the afternoon, whether it's hot or cold, they want Cuban coffee. So, that's kind of the history of it, for my history of it. That's how I came to Miami. But I definitely wasn't the first one to invent whipping an egg inside of sugar for coffee. You know what I mean? The Italians, they put it on the side, and that's what they use to sugar their coffee a lot. You know what I mean? Not always, but I'm saying like that's huevos patuto, like that's what they do with it. And then the Vietnamese egg coffee, they did it for a different reason. And I, I don't know how relevant it is now in Vietnam. Like I'm not sure if you just go everywhere in Vietnam, be like, oh, let me get a coffee, and they automatically like assume. So I think it was a point in history when they were going through something economically and stuff like that with the shortage of cows. Right, I think that'll never happen in the United States.
That's interesting.
No shortage of cows around here.
Definitely not in Miami Lakes.
Not in Miami Lakes.
We got them. We
Definitely
got them
not
everywhere.
in Miami Lakes.
This used to be a dairy farm. But,
Yeah.
But let's break the ice, man. Let's do it. I got two folks here that are gonna taste it and let us know. You're gonna be no. All right.
These guys are young. These guys are young. They can't be drinking.
I don't drink coffee.
They can't be drinking too much coffee, man. Caffeine is not good for you, right? I mean, or is it? It's good for me.
Man, I there's been studies talking about caffeine and the impact and the antioxidants and that it's good. But wait, what did you just?
Okay, so okay. First of all, if you don't have one of these tin cups, you know, I love these tin cups. These things like. So my grandfather, when I was growing up, I used to live in the house with my grandfather a lot, right? And he used to have one of these cups filled to like right there with water, and then it had this little ice cap on it. And I used to come in the middle of the night and I used to drink all his water, and he used to be super pissed off at me. So for me, this is like a super Cuban thing, this tin cup, and you could whip as much sugar as you can. So what I did was I put like 2 full tablespoons, like really full. Like usually in the cafeterias, they have the little black tablespoon measurer. With this kind of spoon, it's probably like 3 or 4, you know, depending how sweet you want it. And then I don't want to kind of shout nobody out, but I use some Cuban coffees are super sweet to the taste, and they finish sweet. I like certain brands that finish amargo, that finish a little sour and a little bitter. So this is very, very sweet, but then it finishes bitter still. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if I should shout out the brands, but so pretty much you just whip the egg and the sugar. It's gonna make a lot of noise, but
So you already got the sugar in there.
yeah. I already got the sugar. Let me turn this on because I might need a little coffee.
And the coffee needs to be at a certain temperature.
Yeah, well, I mean, so people will be like, oh, it's a raw egg, it's a raw egg, it's a raw egg. But this coffee comes out, I think I want to say it's like 180 degrees or something like that. So it cooks it. You know what I mean? It technically cooks it. And then what you do is you just whip it.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that to me the other day where you said, hey, the coffee needs to be at 180 because it cooks the egg.
Yeah.
And you see it kind of.
Yeah, so if you focus in hard on the camera, on the coffee, once you whip it in there, it kind of like bubbles up. It comes alive, you know what I'm saying? Which I think is kind of cool. And then, you know, you could use like the big eggs is better, you know, especially if you're doing it in one of these kind of cups. Because like right now I feel like I put like a little too much sugar. But it's all right though. Once this guy goes, usually I have the other little cup, but it's better. I think we should just brew it in this little tin cup. Is better.
All right. I think this is and it goes into some of the rest of the conversation goes into your ingenuity, your outside of the box thinking. You're like, man, you got to keep reinventing yourself all the time. There's a local business owner, actually the owner of Dr. Limon. He's told me, he goes, Manny, if you don't reinvent yourself constantly, you get left behind. And I think as somebody who's a business owner you got to do it. I mean, he just opened up a nail salon and another restaurant. He's like always thinking how to change the game, and I think this is part of it, man. Changing the game in Miami when it comes to making a colada. It's like
That's super hard because colada is a super traditional thing, and people are very, very close-minded when it comes to some of these kind of inventos. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, it's just super traditional. It's associated with like older Cuban people. You know what I mean? And you know, I mean, I'm Cuban, so I don't want to offend anybody, but you know, Cuban people are pretty stubborn when it comes to they're a little bit stuck in their ways, and they hold everything dear to their heart. You know, so Cuban coffee. There's some people that like it exactly a certain way, and they're not always open to try it. And then the thing is, in Cuba, they do something similar, but they dry it out, and they say that it cures hepatitis. So it's a hard ball of sugar with egg yolk, and they say that it cures hepatitis. And like, I don't know if there's any hardcore Cubans from Cuba in like watching right now, but I mean, I guess in the comments you can leave it if you ever heard of that. But I've heard plenty, usually, very mature, let's call them very mature Cubans. So I whipped it right now. So let me show you before it starts so I don't make a mess. So you see it started off yellow, but now it's like cream color. You know what I mean? And if it isn't cream color, then it's not, you didn't whip it enough. That's the thing. That's why it costs so much when I sell it. Not because, I just want to rip people off, but because, my arm like borderline hurts right now from making it.
No, I think that kind of risk taking, changing the game, and I mentioned this to the president of St. Thomas University last week, Nipsey Hussle. He always said, going against the grain is a risky business. So
damn right.
Making that change could have sunk you. Like people would have been like, "Yo, this guy's like this stuff."
If it didn't taste so good, that's the thing, is that it tastes so good, And what you were saying about like changing all the time and adapting, it's super, super true. For me personally, I started off, I've always kind of been in the limelight, but when my first limelight experience was music. I used to produce music. We had a group called Soulfly Kings, Rock Bottom, and I used to rap and I used to produce and engineer. And, I went from rapper to producer to, like engineering at the same time. After that, it's like I would print, I used to print shirts and everything I did, I always pushed it to the masses and I always went through all the social medias. But even my music was before MySpace. You know what I mean? So really old school, like into it, you know what I mean? And it's like, once something didn't work for me no more, it's just time to change it. Just time to go, wild. Time to innovate.
Before MySpace. That's even tough for a lot of the folks, even like you see.
Listen, the end of my music career, was so my crew, we sold like 100,000 records. We didn't do bad. And we used to post up on South Beach at Fat Tuesdays every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 5 days a week. And we used to sell CDs. And it was actually CDs. But let me tell you something.
Wait, 100,000 CDs?
Yeah, over a good amount of time, though. It wasn't one day to the next. It wasn't through any label. It was independent, out of the trunk type deal. And it was 4 or 5 of us, and we should just be in the beats just selling the CDs. But it taught me how to communicate with people. Because, okay, so if you do some crazy math, right? I'm not saying it's accurate, but if you sell 25 CDs a day, most probably you have to touch and talk to at least 50, at least 25 people for every one CD you sell. At least 25, 35, 40, to up to 50 people for one CD. And I'll sell sometimes 100 a day, at $10. And I didn't want to give them away for free. Hold on, sorry, just checking this coffee.
No, it's all good. I hear it bubbling away.
Yeah. Let me see. So now it'll stop, and then I'll whip it up.
So it's at 180.
I mean,
that's steaming.
If it's steaming and boiling, it's at least at 160, 180.
So
it's definitely hot enough. But yeah, man, being in the beach and just selling all these CDs just taught me how to talk to people, because South Beach is full of people from all over the world. So it was like, when we were talking about adapting and changing and I had to do it every 20 minutes. Every time I talked to a different person, they were from somewhere else, and you had to talk to them different. Some were gangsters, some were politicians. I sold CDs to Mike Tyson. I sold CDs to Bun B from 3 6 Mafia. Sometimes, I sold CDs to like major, rich people, actors, all kind of stuff. And you kind of have to, be political and just talk to them in a certain way. So it really taught me how to communicate and how to innovate, you know what I mean? Because it was every 5 minutes you had to innovate in the way you did your pitch. You know what I mean? So I always associated that with everything I did. It's just being innovative and just doing your thing, man, and not being afraid to change and not being afraid to change speed or mode. You always have to be able to adapt. I went from a rapper to a chef.
No, that's that's an interesting transition, and I've had an opportunity now to talk to you, to get to know you, to jive, to share stories, and the one takeaway that I've gotten from you is mindset, the importance of mindset, and you hit me with something the other day where it left me thinking. I was like, man, this dude is right. Everything you do, half the battle is the way that you think about it, your mindset. Like,
Of course.
half the battle is like, yo, well, before we get there, now you're gonna be pouring it out. I know we got our taste testers here that are gonna be tasting this and giving us some feedback. Yeah, it's funny. I don't even drink Cuban coffee either. But Joe, where you at?
Right over here.
We got our taste tester here.
Okay.
He's gonna let us know what's up.
You tell me. I don't know if you had coffee. Salud. I don't know if you had coffee this morning or not, but I'm sure this one's just a little bit different.
Oh, wow.
And really what it does, it just makes it a little creamier.
This is amazing.
Anybody else want coffee?
Yeah, come.
Look, I don't drink coffee, but I'll taste it.
Yeah,
If
everybody
it's
should
good,
taste
then
it.
you know it's good.
Thank you. Real good.
Are you gonna have a little bit, Manny, or you're gonna avoid it today?
Ben, I don't drink Cuban coffee, but just
When in Rome, and what you see is like it gets really creamy, and I don't know, it's just off the chain. I love
Yo,
it.
what's the feedback? What's the feedback? Talk to me. Good. I see thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
I see thumbs up.
It's there. I promise you, people have been weirded out.
Good.
This is good.
Thank you.
I might start drinking cola.
Cheers.
Oh, I think you have a convert. Somebody who said they don't drink coffee. And yeah, you could pour me one. I'll let it hang
Okay.
here, and I'll definitely
Just sip
taste
it a
it.
little bit, dab
Yeah.
on it.
But I think it goes back to mindset and how that's half the battle. So you dropped that knowledge on me one time. You were like, man, like if I have this issue or this, I'm gonna make sure it's the best thing in the world, whatever it is.
You have to, bro, because life in general, bro. Not just your career, not just your relationship, not just because I think you can kind of associate it with everything, but perspective is everything. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, it's kind of cheesy, but you can say, "Whoa, that glass is half empty," or you can say, "Damn, I got half a glass of water. I could do something with that." You know what I mean? Some people wake up negative, you know what I mean? And they just see everything like, oh, with the coffee machine, usually I'll bring the other cafetera. I did a lot of stuff this weekend. I thought it was in my kitchen, but it wasn't. But it's okay. I have another one. Instead of dwelling on the fact that I didn't have the little maquinita that I wanted to bring, I just go look for the next one. And if now, I'll just go to Target and buy a new one. It's all about perspective, man. If you wake up negative, usually that's what you get back, I'm not super religious or anything like that, but I believe in the universe, you know what I mean? And I believe the universe, I call it the universe, right? I believe it's like the current under the ocean, right? No matter what you put in the current, it's just gonna go where it goes, right? It doesn't have a bias. It could be garbage, it could be gold. Whatever you put in the current is always gonna just travel, right? It's always gonna go in a certain direction because that's just the way it travels. So if you throw good things in the current, somebody's gonna receive something good on the other side. It might be you. You know what I mean? But if you throw negative in the current, if you throw negative in the universe, what do you expect to get back? You know what I mean? If you wake up every morning, you give thanks. I don't really pray to God and everything every day like that. So I'm not gonna say like I'm religious. I don't really go to church, but I wake up and I just thank God. I don't ask for nothing. I just thank God. And it doesn't have to, you could call it whatever you want. You could call it the universe, you could call it God, you could call it whatever you want, right? Everybody's different and that's fine. As long as you give thanks, bro, because you woke up this morning, and if you wake up and instead of looking at all the negative stuff on your phone first, you give thanks first, wipe the cold out your eyes, stretch real good, get yourself in a good mood for 10 minutes, and then look at the phone that's gonna end up pissing you off. I think you'll have a better day. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, long story short, it's like, put out good energy, put out good vibes, put out good everything, have a good perspective, and you're gonna get good back. And even when it's not what you expected, even if it's something bad, there's a way to look at it where it's like, okay, this one hurt, but that means that next time it's not gonna hurt because I'm gonna know what to expect. So even when it hurts, as long as you go into it and have a good perspective on it, it's all gonna come back to you. You know what I'm saying? One way or another.
You're absolutely right, and it's contagious, right? The energy is contagious.
Absolutely.
Who you got around you is contagious.
Absolutely.
Part of the battle. You want to change your life, change the people around you. And
Yep.
I've seen that happen even here in government. When I first got elected, man, it was just negativity every single day.
Yep.
Like every day. Now we've converted it to where every day there's something good happening.
Yeah, you have to.
Like, yo, that's straight up. It went from in a 9-year process. Every day something negative was happening. People were just fighting about. Now, literally every day something good is happening, and I realized that. Now, it's mindset. It's the people that are around you. If you want to change your destiny, you got to get some of those folks because that stuff's contagious.
You gotta go. You move forward, and I don't know. It's like you know, over like in the movies when the car's on the dirt road and it's going super fast and it leaves that dust trail. All that stuff follows you, bro. All that stuff follows you. Eventually, somebody's gonna realize, yo, I could be the dust that's back there, or I could get in this ride, right? If the train is going 1,000, I'm always going 1,000. Like, that's my mentality. It's like, I'm always going 1,000. If you're going 999, you are going to miss the train. And I'm letting you know, my train goes 1,000. You want to ride with me? You got to go 1,000. If you don't go 1,000, you can't ride with me. You're going to miss the train. You're going to miss the train. There's nothing I can do. Because if you're always looking back, you're going to miss something going forward, bro. So look back for what? If you're from the hood, right? And it means something that your homies think you're cool and that you have to do things for your homies and all that stuff. It's like, yo, they better be going 1,000 miles an hour. If not, your train's gonna slow down, right? You know, I kind of say like, I give everybody when I meet them, I give them a theoretical rope, right? And now you can use this rope to help people, right? You can pull them on, right? You can, I don't know, you can make a jump rope out of it. You can do whatever you want. Or you can wrap it around your neck and get rid of your own self. And that's what happens a lot. You know what I'm saying? Instead of getting on that train that's moving 1,000 and just being positive, and everybody has bad days, don't get me wrong. But as long as your train is going 1,000 and you never look back, you know, my grandfather used to say, pa'lante, que ni nada más los cangrejos caminan de lado. Right? That means always move forward, never look sideways, never look back, because it's just going to slow you down. Pa'lante.
Your grandfather was very wise.
Wise Guajiro.
same grandfather that wrote the
No,
recipe?
I'm Cuban-Italian. That was my Cuban grandfather. And the Italian grandfather is the one with the coffee. He's the one with the huevo spatu.
No,
the Italian guy.
My grandparents were the same way, old school. Had to leave school at a very young age to chop palante, and that kind of grind is in our blood. So I wanted to get into some of the questions, and I want to combine this one. So it's talking about your career as a chef. How did it begin? Your passion for cooking, and what the 305 has meant for you. So those three things: starting your career as a chef in the 305, and the passion. Just bring that all together for us.
So, I recommend everybody finish school, go to high school, do your best to go to college, all that kind of stuff. I made some pretty bad decisions when I was real young. You know, I just felt like it wasn't for me. I was just in the wrong mind state. I was all over the place. You know, I hated school, so I dropped out very, very, very young, 16 years old. I dropped out of school. And I've always been a fat boy, you know. I've always been a little chunky, you know what I'm saying? 200 plus. I was like 200 in high school, you know. Hey, I always loved food. And I don't know why, even before I started working in the hospitality industry, I always loved food, and I always kind of understood it, you know what I mean? So even before I dropped out of school, when I was like 14, 15, I used to work in Westland Mall at the Pretzel Twister. You know, so like I've always been associated with food.
But wait a second, that's dangerous, man. How many pretzels did you? Because I used to love going there, and with the cheese dip and all. No.
The lemonade.
Oh, no.
The lemonade was the fire.
Man, but how much sugar was in it? See, but now thinking about it as adults, imagine.
Let's not get into it. But so I always, the point was that I always kind of understood food. You know what I'm saying? So with no education, at least no book smarts. It was pretty easy for me to go get a job. My personality has always been like super bright, so going to an interview was never a problem for me. And the fact that I understood food, you know, I can go in there and I could just make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I was very young, very independent, and I cooked for myself a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I always understood that part of food. And then, like I said, you move forward. You know, you start at $12 an hour, you cap out in the restaurants. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you're a line cook, you cap out 15, 16, 17 bucks. So I was that guy's like, okay, I need a raise because I'm doing all this work. And they're like, but we can't pay that. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll see you later. I'm going to go get another job. So I kind of moved myself up in that world. You know what I mean? And it was always easy, no matter what I was doing, whether it was printing or music or whatever it was always just an easy job for me. Right? I could always go get a job. And then it came to a point, you know, where I worked for Estefan. I was food and beverage director for Estefan. I used to work for a place called Gigi and Bardot in Midtown, which was like the hottest club and restaurant in Midtown in Wynwood for like a very long time in 2009. And a homie of mine, a good homie of mine who actually lives in the area, stepped to me and was like, man, you know, let's open a restaurant. I thought it was a great idea. I was super sick of my job. You know, I don't have too much of a problem with authority necessarily, but I was just sick of working for people, you know? And then we opened my first restaurant and I never looked back. You know what I'm saying? I still haven't shaved the beard since. Look.
Wait, since then?
Yeah, it's been like almost 7 years since 2016. 2015, 16.
Wow.
And the thing is that while I was building my restaurant, I was working for another company. And they made me shave even my mustache, and I hadn't done that in years. And I don't know, I think it doesn't feel any different. It's just the fact that I had to listen to this guy. You know what I mean? I had to listen to a dude who knew half what I knew. At least that's how I felt. He could have been super knowledgeable, but I feel like this guy's telling me what to do, and not just telling me what to do because it's my job. Like, if you listen, I don't bang anybody. You know, I don't bang on anybody who like gets a job and works a 9 to 5, no matter what your job is. As long as you're working, like, I think, you know, there's room for whatever you can do. And some people are super comfortable. For some reason, this job in particular, right? It was a mold remediation specialist, right? And I was the sales guy. So I would go to the house and I guess, you know, pinta. You know, I already kind of look like a delinquent even without the beard. So me with like with a goatee and all that stuff, they just thought it was kind of intimidating. Like, they didn't even let me say my name was Frankie. They wanted me to be Francisco and stuff like that. And just those little aspects of that job really, really got to me. And I was like, you know what? I really like having a beard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And just the fact that I have my own business, right? I was like, I don't have to listen to anybody. So now with people, I'm not so into the beard. I don't go to like beard competitions or anything like that. I don't use like crazy products and nothing like that. But it's very much a symbol of I do me, you know? I can't grow dreadlocks, I'm bald, right? But this is very much a symbol of like, I do me. I do me. If I'm comfortable, I do it. If I'm not, I don't do it. I don't care what it costs. I don't care how much money it is. And having my own restaurants and having, you know, my own place in the culinary world in Miami, you know, because I'm pretty popular or whatever, that to me is nothing but freedom. You know, you can't take that away from me. You know, and if you can, I'll give you the stripes because I'm gonna fight for it. You know what I mean?
No, and I Denzel Washington always says, you know, fail big and fail forward.
Yep.
But you got to be willing to lose. And I think making the change from, I'm working for somebody else, which is okay. You know, not everybody wants to take that risk, to taking the risk, because the reality is you don't know if you're going to make $1. You don't know if you're going to make $1 million. You don't know if you're going to make anything.
Especially with 2 kids and a wife.
Yeah, you don't know if anybody's... Look at that. I mean, those are the risks that at the end of the day, even if you just say you were to fail on something, you're still moving forward.
So
you're still learning.
Okay, I didn't read. I saw on YouTube. There was a dude talking. I can't even remember exactly what it was. But he was talking about the difference between rich people and poor people, and not the physical difference, just like the mentality difference, right? And it's like what he explained was, you know, you try something, you fail. People who end up poor dwell on that failure, right? But if you fail once and you fail twice and you fail 10 times and you win on number 11, you got one in the bag, right? And then you fail another 7 times, and number 8, you got 2 in the bag. And then, you know, after a few more fails, you have 3, 4, and they just go piling up. While the poor guy's dwelling on the fact that he lost or he failed or he didn't do what he thought it was, or he would, he got less than what he expected. The rich guy got 4 or 5 in the bag already. You know what I mean? So I try to go by that. Like, yo, it's okay to fail. You know, I just closed Cafe 72. I don't see it like a fail. I saw it like an opportunity. It opened me up. It opened up my time.
You still move forward.
I opened up my time, right? So now with my time, what do? I sit home and cry that I closed Cafe 72? Absolutely not. I make a plan to do 5 things in that amount of time to make, 3, 4, 5 times the money. I might fail, and it's okay. It's no problem, Another thing is having that support system behind you. Because when I opened my first restaurant, it was like, hey, babe, I have this crazy idea, and I don't know if it's going to work. We might be homeless, and nobody has our back, but I got to do this. What's up? You got me? And she's like, let's go. So without that, it's a lot harder also, you know what I mean? But still, man, it's like, yo, pa'lante, 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 pa' atrás ni pa' coger impulso. And I think it really counts,
You always got to, and you're right, that support system, my wife's the same exact way. Without them giving us that green light or knowing, man, that they're always going to be there, right? To have our backs, that is.
And I have crazy ideas. I have crazy ideas, and my wife is like, man, she's just like ready for the ride. My wife is a yoga teacher at Lighthouse Yoga. She's a real estate agent. She's a paralegal. Like, my wife is amazing. Plus she takes care of the kids and drives them around to, all their sports and all their stuff. And I can barely get out of bed in the morning. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's definitely a huge part of it. So I'll definitely give those props where they're due, man, because I don't know, me with a wife that's not supportive, and who doesn't let me, fly and create would be a disaster in my house, I think,
Yeah, and talking about creating, I know what you're doing now. Hopefully, the nationally syndicated show. I mean, talk to us. How did that happen? And I know I think how much time we got left. I think we're so. Well, talk about that because I think that's really interesting because. You just talked about your journey, but now your journey might even take you.
It could, man. I don't like to speculate, and I don't like to kind of talk too much about stuff that hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? Because
no, you're right.
But we're talking about La Hama. My homie Sofla, he's a really dope content creator here in Miami, and he does anything from commercials for Rolls Royce to music videos for rappers or whatever. He's a super dope content creator. He's my best friend, my brother. With my first restaurant, I used to promote the restaurant. And then one day he came in like, hey, I'm doing this content, let's film some stuff. Bro, I just saw the hugest jump in numbers on the social media and everything like that, where I was like, wow, it's super visual, like things are changing, you know what I mean? It's not like before. Before you could drop a song with no video, now you have to drop a video before you drop a song. So we got into that, and little by little, I was like, man, we're so cool together, like, and we make fun of each other, and we're super, like, not serious. We decided to bring it, these restaurants to a different light, like, man, Guy Fieri's great and all these, Food Network stars are great, but they're kind of stuffy, you know what I mean? And we're from Miami. We like chite and we like jodedera and all that kind of stuff. So we decided let's film a show called La Hama. Let's just not be serious about it. You know what I mean? We're going to go eat random things in Miami, right? Some are a little bit fancy and some are hot dogs. We went to Our Better Hot Dogs. We went to Cuban Guys. We went to, a barbecue place down south. We went to Hate Mondays. We went to, different places like that. And
we went to La Granja, which I saw.
La Granja. That's some classic Miami stuff, though. I don't know.
100%.
Wednesday night, if you don't want to cook, you go get you a completa over there for like $6. You know what I mean? So we went, and it was just like, man, so we can go in there and we can, hey, because this rice was cooked in a certain degree, let's just go have fun. And so we put a few things together and we put it out there, and now, like I said, I can't really talk about it too much, but now there's a possibility that the show could blow on a level like that. And if it doesn't, it's okay too. Cause like I said, pa'lante, pa'lante. There's 10 ways to get in. We ended up filming like 20 something episodes of a show called Whipping in the Kitchen. We ended up filming almost 20 episodes of La Hama, and then now we do a segment. It's not a show. It's more of a segment. It's 5 minutes or less called Hungry AF. and we'll leave the AF up to everybody's imagination, you know, which is more me cooking, you know, versus us go eating at restaurants and stuff like that. Just, you know, we're staying relevant, and it's like, man, a lot of people don't give out their recipes, and tienen un complejo de madre when it comes to giving out the recipes. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'll give you the recipe to the egg yolk colada. It doesn't matter. If you want to whip that for 5 minutes till your arm hurts, go, by all means, you know what I mean? Go ahead and do it. So, like, I do all my recipes. I give them away. I don't care. You got to go on a mission to do those recipes. I know. I'm the one who does it. You know what I mean? So yeah, the show is going great. Right now, we're kind of like, we're not dropping so much content right now because of, you know, other little huge things that are happening. But hopefully soon we'll be dropping content again. You know what I mean? Right now we're dropping the Hungry AFs as often as possible. I mean, once a week, once every other week. But the rest of the stuff, hopefully you'll see it in bigger places, you know?
No, and that's tremendous confidence. You're like, yo, instead of hiding your recipes, instead of hiding the approach, you're like, hey, whatever. It's open to the universe. Let's put it out. Let's see what happens. And
it's open.
No, but that shows tremendous confidence in what you do.
You could do it if you want.
Yeah.
Do it if you want. It's definitely not easy. You know, half of my stuff is very, it looks easy, but it's kind of not. So it's like, hey, man, go ahead and do it if you got to do it. You know what I mean?
So, Frankie, as we wrap up, any questions you got for me? Anything you got for me?
When are we going to change it from Miami Lakes to the town?
Listen, man, true. You want to hear a funny story talking about that? So when the town was being talked about as incorporating, as becoming a city, back in December of 2000, Bob Graham, who his family were the ones that fought, former governor, former U.S. senator, still resides here. He called in to the committee. There was a committee of residents that were working on creating like building a corporation, creating the corporate papers. He told them from Washington, calls in and goes, hey, I believe Miami Lakes should be named Newtown Miami Lakes.
Newtown Miami Lakes.
So the committee kind of looked around, and they just made a motion to name it the town of Miami Lakes. But the guy who made the motion now is my town manager here now. But it's interesting how the name, you know, kind of like it went through, because the guy that founded it, he wanted to call it Newtown.
Newtown. Like,
just saying, instead of Miami, Newtown. Like,
yeah.
That was interesting, you know. But yeah.
That's pretty cool, though. I like
but yeah,
it.
to go, and what's interesting now, so if I wanted to change it to, if I say, hey, Frankie wants me to change it to the town.
That would be awesome.
Man, actually, a brand, from the branding perspective, that would be.
We should make T-shirts, the town.
Hey. You got me thinking now. I'm gonna start getting some hats and.
Hey, I'm gonna need an office in here. If you can take my idea, I'm gonna need an office around here.
No.
Bro. I need it.
We'll make it happen. The interesting part is to make that change. I would have to, and it is doable. I would have to put it on the ballot, and our residents would have at least 50% plus one who have to improve.
Nice.
But I am, no joke, leaving here today, I'm gonna work with you to do a hat and do some gear that says the town.
I'm with it. I'm down, and I have all the plugs for it.
That's an awesome.
Absolutely,
idea.
100. And I don't know, man. I think I have more. Okay, so there's a lot of like controversy with the bridge. And other little stuff like that. You know, I think Miami Lakes is a super solid place. I think you're doing a great job. You know what I mean? Because I don't see that many. I mean, there's major problems in every city. You know what I mean? In every town. I don't see that many here. I see like people are pretty happy. You know, so I commend you on like doing a great job. You know what I mean? And you know, I'll give you my apoyo to keep doing it, you know, whatever you need from me. And I don't know how I can help you in politics, but you know what I'm saying? I'll definitely be an advocate for you, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what my political party is, like, I know you personally, and I can, I don't know, I could just tell everybody who talks smack on the internet and all that kind of stuff, who makes, you know, a big deal about the little controversies in the town and stuff like that, yo, Manny's the real deal. And I can look at you in the face and just say, yo, man, he's the real deal. He really actually cares, and he puts his heart into it, and he goes and he gets it. You know what I mean? He has a restaurant in Miami Lakes. You could catch him in there. Like, who does that? You know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, to me, that tells a lot about a person, that you're not scared to get in the mud and get your hands dirty and stuff like that. So I don't know any other politicians that are willing to get in the mud. Right? I call it the mud, but I get in the kitchen, get in the restaurant, get dirty, walk around, shake hands, do what you got to do. What's the difference between you and I'm not trying to make a competition between the politicians, okay? I'm definitely not. But what's the difference between you? Why are you able to be in the mud all the time, right? And these guys are a lot of these guys, and I won't name anybody, but a lot of these guys just won't do it. Like, I feel like they won't get in the mud. They won't get their hands dirty. You know, what makes you like that, you know, in that aspect?
Yo, that's a great question. I think one of the biggest differences is that nothing was given to me, right? Besides my parents' love, always, like, my parents were always on top of me. Even when I was going in the wrong direction, they were. Besides that, nothing. Like, I didn't have a political godfather that said, "Hey, you're gonna be a councilman. You're gonna be," which happens in Northwest Dade, in Miami-Dade County. A lot of the campaigns you have, everybody say, "Oh no, we're gonna support this person." I never once had that.
Yeah.
I had to go get it. And the same thing with the rep. But everything I did, I remember as a kid too, for me to eat a chicken nugget, like, which now we go right now and pay $1, it was like a celebration. I literally had my birthday, my 5th birthday party. My mom asked me, "What do you want?" "Oh, I just want to have it at McDonald's and have a Happy Meal." That was my part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those humble upbringing where, man, I had even when I was 18, 19, my parents didn't have any money, so I had to cut hair in my parents' garage to just go to get, you know, enough money to go on a Friday, Saturday, to go to Denny's on 49th Street on West 4th, to go hang out, to go watch a movie, to do this and that. Man, so that's something that always stuck with me. I was like, man, I nobody ever you know what I mean? Every little thing I had to earn. Even when I became an aide in the legislature, I was very fortunate. Got interviewed, got the opportunity, and was I had a decision to make. I was a junior in college. Was like, man, do I drop all my classes and just leave to the state capitol? And I was like, yo, that's a done deal. Like,
You gotta do it.
I got to do it. But even when I got up there, I worked, instead of hanging out, socializing, I worked harder than everybody else.
Makes a lot of sense.
I was in the books till like midnight, learning more. I wanted to make sure that whoever came in through that door, I knew more than them. And it all went back to my upbringing, growing up in Hialeah,
Stay
in
ready.
Miami Lakes. Yeah, always grinding.
You know, they say if you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready.
Exactly. And the same thing goes to what I do now. I mean, when people see me, they're like, but you know, the mayor's cooking in the kitchen. And I think that it goes back to, you got to be humble, you got to stay connected, you got to know what's going on, and
100%.
And it goes back to the upbringing. That upbringing of having nobody giving you anything, nobody saying, "Oh, hey, here, you're gonna be a councilman, or you're gonna have this business, or you're gonna have it." You got to go get it.
Yeah, because I think, you know what I think? I think a lot of the politicians are so far from the residents of the places that they control, right? So like, I think even like all the way to the top, like, I think a lot of times the people who make the laws never been a cop, right? So you're gonna make a law, but you never had to. You never had to enforce something like that. So sometimes there's plenty of laws in general that just don't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, there's ratings in you know, first degree, second degree that are just jumbled up. You know, just jumbled up. I won't get into specifics. I know we're almost done, but I just think some politicians are just so far from the residents. You know what I'm saying? How can they do a good job if they never put nobody in handcuffs? How can you make a law that says you got to put somebody in handcuffs when you just don't even know how it feels? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there should be more mayors and more politicians like you who really get in the street and they know how people feel when those laws affect them adversely. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I commend you, bro, and I appreciate you for. I actually don't even live in Miami Lakes, but I wish my mayor was, you know, very similar to you. You know, and he's kind of not. You know what I mean? I think he's not I won't say where I live, but I just think. our guy is kind of like doesn't understand us. You know what I mean? I think our guy doesn't understand. I think he enforces things that he has no idea about, you know, because he's just never been in the position. You know what I mean? Like, how can you delegate to somebody who's so poor that they're wondering where they're going to eat if you've never been poor? You know what I mean? So I don't know. More than a question, I'll say a statement like, I appreciate you for just getting in the mud, bro. Like the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nobody. I've walked around the town with you a little bit. And hey, Manny, what's up? You know, there's not a, hey, Mr. Sid, or let me go. No, it's a very, very cordial, very like if you were, I don't know, the guy selling lemons. You know, like people greet you just the way they greet the coffee guy, or they greet, you know what I mean? And I don't know, if you're the mayor and you could be that humble, there's nobody in this city, nobody in this town, nobody in this world that should think they're better than anybody if the mayor shakes hands with anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, I'll give you all the props in the world for that, brother.
No, I appreciate that, and it goes back to the mindset discussion that we had earlier. So, man, I appreciate you spending time with us today.
No problem.
I got one ask though.
Let's go.
If you could look into this camera right here and close it out.
Let's go. You already know you watching the podcast with the Mayor Manny Sid. I'm your boy Chef Frankie. Ya tu sabes. Dale.
Dale. We'll see you next week. Tune in on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you definitely got to check out the Egg Yolk Colada because this thing is fire. But more than anything, what's behind it is the mindset, the drive, the will, and the innovation.
Pa'lante, pa'lante.
Dale.
Let's go.